One executive order, three big changes for our state. Governor Cooper signed the order this afternoon.
Here's what it includes: limits for retail stores, a faster way to file unemployment, and tighter rules at nursing homes. We're going to touch on all three tonight and the effects they'll have in the triad.
Let's start with new rules for retailers. The restrictions will impact your trips to the grocery store. Tonight, WFMY News 2's Marissa Tanzino is live in Greensboro with more on the rules, including limits to how many people can actually be in a store.
Well, Chad, with this new order, places like grocery stores can only allow a fraction of their occupancy inside the store. For places like Best Way here, they're only allowed 18 people, and that's including their staff.
This order requires new social distancing policies at retail stores that are open.
Governor Cooper ramping up the restrictions for retail stores across the state.
This should make shopping safer for customers and retail employees and help prevent stores from becoming flashpoints for virus transmission.
The executive order limits the number of people allowed in retail stores. For every 1,000 square feet, or about the size of a standard one-bedroom apartment, only 5 people are allowed, about 20% of the store's occupancy. It also directs stores to clean more and put down markings 6 feet apart at places like checkout lines. Best Way store owner Nancy Kimbrough says she thinks it's a great idea.
I've really found that our customer is very cooperative, very respectful of, especially during this time. I think that they want to grocery shop in the safest way possible.
The Greensboro store will only be allowed 18 people at a time. That's including employees. The state also recommends providing hand sanitizer at doors, face coverings for workers, and barriers at checkouts. Kimbrough says her store is already taking precautions like that.
We have installed plexiglass to create a barrier. We have social distancing signs posted throughout the store. We've removed some fixtures from the floor to make sure we have wider spaces.
Now, keep in mind, this could have an impact on the number of people you take with you to a store. The restrictions will go into effect Monday at 5 p.m. and last for 30 days.
Marissa, thank you. Many big box stores have already started enforcing social distancing rules earlier this week. At Walmart and at Target, there is just one entrance for customers and plenty of signs telling people to stay 6 feet apart. Harris Teeter started new rules yesterday, limits on how many people are allowed inside and more hand sanitizer available. Food Lion is doing it too. The Reidsville Police Department tweeted this photo of markers at their Food Lion. It designates aisles as one way. It's not a requirement in the executive order, but it is recommended.
The next part of the executive order, nursing homes. It sets up new health and safety requirements. Group dining and activities in common areas are banned. Employees must wear masks and other protective equipment. Plus, they'll have to be screened every time they enter the facility. Many assisted living centers across the Triad already have similar rules in place. WFMY News 2's Alma McCarty spoke to a woman who lives at a Triad senior community about how they're holding up during the pandemic.
I've actually heard from several people living in one community, Bermuda Village in Davie County. They don't have any cases there, and the residents living there say they're ever so grateful for staff keeping them healthy and keeping them positive. Coronavirus numbers are still going up. Outbreaks have now been reported at several assisted living facilities across the state. It's alarming and unnerving, but at Bermuda Village.
Hi, Lisa! Hey!
Despite all the bad news,
Hey! How you doing, Kyle? Glad you're still here!
staff are giving their elderly residents
Hello, ladies! We miss you too, really a lot!
a reason to smile.
The biggest thing is communication, just staying communicated with the folks and telling them that we're here for them. We certainly miss them.
The retirement community's executive director, Kyle Jones, says they've already made safety and social distancing changes before Governor Cooper's latest executive order.
This Monday, we made the initiative to all staff will wear a surgical mask, and I have mine here that When I'm in the community, we always wear those masks. And then once we got the governor's order, we were already ahead of the game.
Residents like 80-year-old Carol Quinn say they couldn't be in better care.
We're just being so well taken care of.
Although she and her husband are isolated from the rest of the community right now, Quinn says she isn't alone, with staff keeping them busy with activities over Zoom.
She's doing classes for us from her home, and we do them in our home, and we can see each other, speak to each other, and have a wonderful time exercising.
Although springtime events and Easter celebrations here are a little different, communication and care are still the focus. Another thing staff has been doing for the 300 or so residents, going ahead and picking up groceries and prescriptions so they don't have to go out.
Alma, thank you. The new concerns over nursing homes come after 60 people tested positive at one facility in Orange County. The state says there were just 2 cases there last week. Now 7 are in the hospital and 2 people have died. Statewide, there are 18 long-term care facilities with outbreaks.
Now to the third part of the executive order, unemployment. Nearly 500,000 people have filed in North Carolina and thousands more are still waiting. Today's order removes obstacles in the process so employers can file claims for employees faster. It allows the Department of Commerce to choose not to enforce certain rules so it's easier to approve more people. So far, North Carolina has distributed over $40 million in unemployment benefits, with much more to come. Nationwide, the numbers are much higher. 16.8 million Americans out of work right now. Just over 6 million have applied for unemployment. This is now the biggest, fastest pileup of job losses since the U.S. started keeping record back in 1948. With so many people out of work, Goodwill Industries of Northwest North Carolina is helping out. Organizers have expanded virtual employment and training services to help you hone your job skills, update resumes, or make LinkedIn profiles more marketable to employers.
We're still here. So just because you cannot walk into one of our career centers, you can find us through our website, goodwillnwnc.org.
The program is free to people living in our area.
A lot of people will rely on that stimulus money to stay on their feet. The good news tonight, the Treasury Department says the first payments will start hitting accounts next week. The first round to about 60 million people will go out Monday. Then more will go out about 10 days later.
New tonight, the Davidson County Health Department is reporting its second coronavirus death. The patient died at Novant Health Forsyth Medical Center in Winston-Salem. Health officials say the person was in their late 80s and had underlying medical conditions. High Point University is mourning the loss of one of their own. A member of the security team died yesterday after battling the coronavirus for a week. Harry Houston was known for his positive spirit on campus. We spoke to the HPU student body president who knew Houston well.
Harry was a jokester, really an awesome guy who, no matter where you went or where you met him, he instantly would create a personal relationship with you. He was someone who deeply cared about his job, cared about the students and the whole community of HBU.
Houston was a retired member of the Coast Guard. The university plans a tribute to honor his life at a later date. The CEO of a triad food bank that gives to hundreds of organizations has tested positive for coronavirus. Eric Aft is the CEO of Second Harvest Food Bank in Winston-Salem. He tested positive after being diagnosed with pneumonia. He self-quarantined when he first showed symptoms. The organization had already taken steps to ensure the safety of staff, volunteers, and the food. Aft says his doctors feel very positive about his prognosis.
We learned some great news tonight from a Guilford County woman who has coronavirus and just had a baby. Morgan Hooks was worried she passed the virus to her baby, so doctors tested little Logan. Well, after more than a week of waiting for the results, Logan's test came back negative.
I feel like it was just a dream, and I feel like I've had her, since I gave birth. because I haven't really wanted to put her down or anything.
Hooks and her family are still isolating tonight. No visitors just yet. They're slowly returning to a normal routine. Of course, we don't know when this will end, hopefully sooner rather than later. But experts are warning against cutting that stay-at-home order too soon and how it could lead to potential consequences down the road.
2 Wants to Know's Kevin Kennedy found out when our state could peak and how decisions now could shape our future.
We're now more than about halfway through the second week of the stay-at-home order put into effect by Governor Roy Cooper. Medical experts believe that the social distancing is working to flatten the curve. So where are we now? Where will we be in 5 weeks and 5 months for that matter? Dr. Christopher Ohl with Wake Forest Baptist Health answers those questions and some more. When will the Triad see its peak of COVID-19 cases?
I don't think we are going to have a peak. I hope we don't have a peak. Looking at our curves, we're having roughly the same number of cases per day, new cases per day, the same number of new hospitalizations per day, and the same number of ICU admissions per day.
Is sheltering in place making a difference in the Triad?
Sheltering in place is working, all right? I am confident it's working. In all of the areas where it's been able to be done appropriately and properly, it works, and it is really working here. And every single one of us in infectious diseases who follows this really thinks this is it.
How much longer are we going to have to shelter in place?
If we release that sheltering in place at the end of April and towards the beginning of May, the models show that we would have a bit more than a 50% chance of our intensive care units becoming overwhelmed in our hospitals. And that's a little bit like New York.
Will COVID-19 come back again? And if it does, when will that happen?
Well, my crystal ball gets a little fuzzy the further out I look. I think a lot of people in infectious diseases who think about epidemics and emergent infections are worried that we might see it again in fall when the usual respiratory flu season comes back around.
That second wave could come earlier or later, or may not come at all. Kevin Kennedy, 2 Wants to Know.
All right, still not that cold out there yet, but that is coming. And really, I've been getting a lot of questions from you just saying, Tim, when's this wind going to stop? Unfortunately, I don't have a good answer for you. It's going to continue throughout the night, and it'll continue again throughout the day on Friday also. Take a look at some of these wind gusts. This is right now at 11 o'clock in the evening, still having gusts between 20 and 30 miles per hour in many cases. Now, what's happening is we had that cold front rush through earlier today. The cool air rushing in so quickly, it's really in a hurry to get here. So that wind is very accelerated. For tomorrow, it's honestly a fall feel. It's a blustery kind of a day with a lot of sunshine, but a gusty wind throughout. 40s in the morning, just upper 50s for highs in the afternoon. And keep in mind that wind, still a big deal. Gusting between 30 and 40 miles per hour. I'm calling for a high of 59 degrees on Friday, and you can hold me to that. Now, coming up, what I want you to know, a cold Saturday morning is on the way and potentially a severe finish to Easter weekend. We're talking all about that coming up.
The Triad is doing what it can to stay strong right now. In Greensboro, it comes in the form of signs like this one at the Friendly Center. It says Greensboro Strong, a term residents know well. It's a welcome sight for people driving down Friendly Avenue. Well, maybe you've seen these signs popping up around Greensboro. They say, "Thank you, COVID warriors." Associated Posters is giving them away for free so you can thank first responders and other essential workers. Several are listed on the sign. Find out how you can get yours on our website. Other signs of hope across Greensboro come in the form of Christmas decorations. December, 8 months away, but the lights are already out. Homeowners say they want to spread some positivity during the pandemic. You can find stockings and festive lights on homes on South Elam Street in Greensboro. You can even spot some of those famous Christmas balls in the Sunset Hills neighborhood.
We see the climbing coronavirus numbers every single day, but some people don't believe them. Our Verify team is digging into the online claims. Next.